Happy Friday to anybody watching this in the replay or for those who start joining. I hope everybody's Friday has been going well. So I wanted to hop on here, and I didn't technically let you guys know when I was going to be doing this, but I kind of talked about that I was going to be doing this and put up a poll for you guys about if you wanted a live stream or a pre-recorded video, and I was going to do a pre-recorded then a live stream, but I decided just to do live. So let me say hi to everybody. Hey Della, hey Jamal, hey Susie, Kim, TD Talks, Frogger, Graham's Live, Savin Rags. I'm gonna try and move this down a little bit. So last time I went live here in this particular setting, a lot of people enjoyed being able to see my dogs in the background and stuff like that. So since nobody's home today, I figured I would go ahead and utilize this space again. Hey Christy. Yeah, exactly. Happy Friday. Hey Star Lily. I hope everyone is having a good day. I hope the lighting's not too bad. It's a little bit different in this room working with the lighting than my other room that I usually film in. So if it's bad, I'm sorry guys. So just for anybody watching this in the replay or people who are coming in, if the dogs become a distraction, I'm sorry. I'm so used to these guys that I noticed when I went back and watched the replay, because people were talking about how one of them was laying. I really just zone out what they're doing. I don't watch like the camera as far as that goes. I try to keep an eye on the screen, or I focus on looking at you guys while I'm talking. So I didn't even realize that she was doing acrobatics back here. She's a weird dog. My dogs are very weird. Although they seem pretty calm and like chilled out when they're laying back here, that is not their personalities at all. And since we're filming earlier in the day, they may start to play with each other. And if that happens, I'll have to address it. So, because my chocolate lab is pretty vocal and he sounds mean, but he's not. So with all of that, hey Mother of Funk, hey Dark Lily, hey Jazzy J, hey My Opinion, Not Yours. Hey Jenny, I'm just gonna let a couple of people come in. Go lay down. So today what I want to do is, hey Andrea, I want to talk with you guys, obviously. I have spent more time than I would like to admit watching all of Unirock's videos lately. I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. I did not go back and watch videos that he has done previously, but I wanted to watch all the videos that he has been doing since all of this stuff kind of happened. So where I really started, I have a couple of notes, and I ended up just rewatching a lot of it this morning to have it fresh on my mind, including the video he just released. So if you weren't aware, the video he kept saying was going to come out was part 2 of Katie, and his criticism of her has dropped. I did watch that before I went live. That's why it's a little bit later than you guys don't know when I was planning on going, but I was planning on going live a little bit earlier. But I wanted to go ahead and watch that to have all of my thoughts and my opinions. And you know, honestly, what I'm coming to, despite his video that he put today, I think he's kind of co-signed a lot of Katie's behavior, to be quite honest. Like, that's honestly where I'm at. I'm not saying, you know, he should be in part blamed for any of it, but I do think he has co-signed her behavior, and I think he is realizing that now, and he is trying to do everything he can. But even in the video that he made, the part 1 series that he made, he continuously, like every time he would provide any kind of what he was claiming to be criticism, which really, in my opinion, wasn't criticism. He was calling, like saying, she did this. That is her behavior. That is an action. That's not criticism unless you're saying, I think this behavior she did is shitty, which is what a lot of us do, right? So when we talk about Katie, so I am thinking like, he continually would say, now don't get mad at me, Katie. Now don't get mad at me for this. And it's like, dude, all you're doing is calling out her patterns of behavior. You're really not even providing any criticism. Also, since we're in the front end of this, I can recover stuff. I see some more people are joining. If you are new to my channel or anything like that, I will curse. And if that is going to offend you, I had a couple of comments here or there, people being offended by my language. I'm an adult. My demographic is adult. If you can't handle cursing, then don't care about my opinion and just click out of the video. I'd rather not have to. I try to engage with everybody in the comments. So if you're going to leave a comment about my cursing, I am going to ask why you watched it then and why you felt it was necessary to leave the comment. So I'm just putting it in a warning here. I will curse throughout this video. If that offends you, please leave. I don't care if it offends you. Don't watch it. That's your right. That's your opinion. I don't want to hear you get on to me as a freaking adult about my language. I have parents who can do that. And my mom does get on to me for cursing. So if that makes you feel better, there you go. That's my disclaimer for my language. I definitely like Emily D. Baker's disclaimer of her cursey words, but I don't want to take that from her because I think it's cute. But I'm just going to get that out there so we can get back on topic. Most people do curse like a sailor. I understand that it is offensive to some people. I do understand that. However, in the last few videos where I went off and was just really telling you guys how I feel, I was really irritated. I was really worked up, and I'm human. So, you know, when we get all up in our feels and how we're really expressing how we feel, it's likely that some hyperactive words are going to come out, right? So whatever, it is what it is. I'm not upset. I just wanted to make sure I addressed that at the beginning of this because any of these topics lately I know are pulling in more people, which is fine. I appreciate any new people willing to watch my videos or listen to my opinion or even subscribe from that. But don't lecture me about my language because I don't care. So let's see what you guys are saying, then we'll continue on with the topic. Sorry if I missed anybody coming in. Hey Jay, hey Kier. Andrea said you got blocked after only watching her 2 times on YouTube. You made 2 comments that weren't bad. Is she active on there or is she silent? So I'm actually streaming from my phone today, so I can't check Twitter. At least I don't think I can without exiting out of the stream. I might be able to log into it on my computer, but that's always an issue since I don't know my passwords. Hey, Maya. Hey, Jakes, baby cakes. Her Instagram lives kill you. She stops to read the comments and skips over. Yeah, she does that with her YouTube as well, though. Girl, you're an adult. You can, sorry, dog, just hit this. It's part of the problem of doing this out here. Yeah, and I know that. I appreciate that, 3 Mama. Like, most of you guys don't care, and I know you don't care, and most of you guys kind of know my personality at this point to know that I'm not being malicious. It's more, I use curse words more to emphasize my sentences. Just checked, she is only posting links to her channel. I wonder why. So let's go ahead and get on into this. You know, this video really is going to primarily be just so you guys, if people are coming in or there's new people, hey, Kana, I'm glad you made it. Or Kona, sorry if I mispronounced that. If people want, this is obviously going to, at some point, touch on points of Katie. However, this is primarily focused to talk about Uni and his involvement and how he's kind of been maneuvering through this over the last year. And he is now trying to weasel his way out of it because there's just too much heat. That's what I think. Hey, Karma Kid. So I watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos of his throughout the week. So I didn't sit here and watch them all in a row. I couldn't do that. I work a full-time job. So I remember bits and pieces. I took notes on bits and pieces. So if I misrepresent or I misspeak something he stated and you guys know it to be wrong, please correct me. I'm going to try and do a better job today at keeping an eye on the chat when I'm talking about this, because I'm not super well versed in uni. I'm not at all, and I'm not trying to say I am. Hey, Melly Lynn. But he has inserted himself to a degree. Like, I don't even think he got himself involved. I think there was, and we're going to talk about it, but I think he got involved and he has decided to remain involved. So call him Jason. Does that aggravate him? Is that why you say that, Joey? So, yeah, the dogs are playing. If it's distracting, I'm sorry. As long as they don't get loud, I will let them play. You can't watch Unirock. Yeah, I've gotten that a lot when I kind of was letting you guys know that this was my intention. I don't want to, and I've said it before, and a lot of other creators who have been discussing this Katie situation, even people like myself who had talked about her to, who've talked about her previous to all of this stuff, you know, everybody's kind of talking about Katie in this situation right now. And understandably so, because it is such a big situation. Like, despite if you have talked about Katie before or if you know of Katie's antics previously, this is a big deal that a larger YouTuber is suing a smaller YouTuber, especially when you take into effect everything that has gone on with Katie, right? Like, Katie's the one who was really providing some opposing opinions about Tati. You know, I've talked about how I feel of her coverage of that, but it's a big deal that a larger YouTuber is suing somebody else. There are grounds for that, obviously, or else I don't think Tati would be spending the money. But I worry for everybody else, because not as far as like being sued, but like I worry for people who are covering this, because there's people who are starting to label anybody who talks about this situation as a troll. And most of us can handle that. Most of us are used to it. And as I said before, I just don't want to feed into it. I don't want to feed into pushing people to her channel. So if I'm going to continue to talk about things that she does, and if it's a situation where I think warrants needing to be talked about, like what she did to Creepshow, I understand there's been updates. Maybe I'll talk about that after this, but I really wanted to make sure that we're not just being so blindfolded and closed-minded, because in my opinion, Unirock has kind of boasted Katie during all of this over the last year. I think he's kind of fueled her to, you know, have these, the confidence maybe to do some of these things, you know, because she had somebody in her corner and like willing to defend her. Hey, stop. Yeah, Michelle says she may not be paying for it all. It may be coming out of Halo. It might be. You believe he boasted her too much. Hey, Cindy. Yes, I hope everybody is having a good Friday. Joey, I've heard that argument that Uni only became involved because of the Steve McRae stuff. And I've talked about that briefly before, in the sense of I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know what's gone on with the Steve stuff. I honestly don't care to know, to be quite honest. There's too much stuff going into that I don't have the time to go back and destruct all of that when it's almost over. But I've seen a lot of people have that argument that Uni and Katie kind of became close while some of that stuff was happening, which could be true. I mean, that could be why they initially started to talk. Danielle thinks he's too nice for his own good. I'm not saying Unirock is a bad guy. I don't think, like, I will say my opinion about Katie is that she's not a good person. I don't think Unirock's a bad person. I really don't. I think he's making poor decisions. And I think he has been for a while. Hey, Starbug. I don't know. Like, that's the thing. I don't know anything about that situation. I hear bits and pieces, but I don't know enough to really say, yes, this is what happened, or this is my opinion on what happened with all of that stuff, because I wasn't there for it. And I don't feel comfortable talking about it. And I don't want to go back and try and watch everything, because from my understanding, some of that stuff isn't available to see anymore. So he said that the girl who KJ apparently doxed gave KJ permission and then backtracked. You don't know if you believe that. Which girl? As much as you wouldn't doubt Katie is enough of a hypocrite to do it herself with BX. Yeah, I know what she did to BX Beast Boy was disgusting. Because we all watched that happen. We all watched her promote it and then retract it and then try to say that it was done illegally, which was shitty. It was shitty of her to do. That's not the only thing that she's done. You know, she's done a lot of stuff. And if you watch Uni's most recent video, he does point out a lot of things that she has done. He's also chosen to not talk about a lot of things. And he has chosen to be like very careful in how he talked about things, but he omitted a lot. In his most recent video, I don't know if this is just me, because I can be petty. I'm not gonna lie. It bothers me that he calls Micah Stauffer Mika Stauffer, and he pronounces their last name incorrectly as well, Stouffer, which is fine. Like, you can mispronounce stuff, but he says that he was going to talk about them and he wished he had. Well, you obviously haven't really done any research or listened to anything, because you're pronouncing their names wrong. And that's just a little bit of me that like gets a little bit rubbed wrong. Like, were you really, or are you just trying to say that to support that what you think Katie did in that instance was maybe inappropriate? Why are you trying to defend your own self for not covering a story? Why does that have anything to do with it? To me, it makes you lose a little bit of credibility if you are saying, I was going to cover this like worldwide known story, but I chose not to, but I was thinking about it, but I don't know how to pronounce their names. I mean, there has been so many people covering them, and in order to kind of cover and know the situation, you need to watch their main video that caused all the controversy, and they say their names. So, I mean, that's just a petty thing for me. I know not everybody is going to feel that way, but that bothered me. There was another thing in that. The Sophie Long stuff, he talks about that, and then somebody in the chat, he says how it might be breaking HIPAA. It is breaking HIPAA. You can't release anybody's information, and if you get somebody's information that you shouldn't have, you shouldn't read it. That's like opening somebody else's mail. It's against the law. It's a federal law. You can't open other people's mail. Medical records or anything dealing with anybody else's medical, psychiatric, medical, anything like that is so against the law because of HIPAA. I have worked, every professional job I have worked has dealt with HIPAA, and I am held to HIPAA on an extreme level and confidentiality. It is against the law. And, you know, if you don't know that and you can't rebuke that with your commentators, then you shouldn't have brought it up, or you should have just chosen to ignore, to like engage with that particular comment. That's not true. I'm not a doctor, and I can easily break HIPAA with my jobs and get arrested and lose my job. Other people can break HIPAA. If you are privy to the information, you cannot re-release it. That's breaking HIPAA. I appreciate that, Glitter. I just saw the doctors, so if you said other workers, I apologize. I just saw where you said only doctors can break HIPAA. Anybody who can get access to somebody's medical records and they re-release them or they provide that information to others is a breach of HIPAA. So we don't have to get hung up on this. I know everybody kind of has their input on the HIPAA stuff, and that's fine. Everybody knows their own information, right? I work very closely in professions that deal with HIPAA, so I do know what can constitute as a breach of HIPAA information. But my point is, if he was going to talk about it and didn't know about it, it seems to be something he does often, even when talking about Katie. That was shown in the interview that was had on Augie RF's stream. Creepshow Art was directing questions at Unirock about Katie and pinpointing specific behaviors and specific things that she has done. And he followed up with, oh, well, I don't know about that. Why are you, and this is an argument that's going to maintain for me. Why were you so ready to defend her and ready to, cast all critical comments of her away if you weren't fully aware of the behaviors that people were criticizing? Like that, and that doesn't change at all. That doesn't change at all with, this situation. I understand he is trying to say, he is coming from the point of what I maybe was putting out before wasn't the best. So now this is my actual opinion in hardcore, like I'm making a video about it, which, I'm not super upset that he said he was going to make a video and it was going to be out on one day and then it wasn't. I'm not upset about that. I do that myself. I say I'm going to put a video out and then life happens and I can't. What I'm more bothered about by it is the video that he put out was not what I really had expected. He made it appear that he was putting all of this work and everything into it, which I know he did. There's a lot of screenshots. However, in the live stream he did saying he wasn't putting the video out whenever in the 2 days that he needed another day, he was he was saying his moderators were getting all the information for him. And I understand that some creators may operate their channels like that. I don't mean anything bad by it, but I hope he's fact checking with what his mods get, right? Like, I just hope that there is a checks and balances for creators who are turning their content into being, everybody else gets the information and then brings it to me, and then I use the information to uphold whatever my opinion is. So to me, that makes me think that he maybe already had his opinion made up and was just asking for his moderators to pull whatever content or screenshots that they could find in relation to the topic and then support his opinion with it, which is fine. Like, if that's how he wants to do his content or other people do their content, I'm not bashing it. I just hope that he is going back and making sure, not saying that his mods would fake stuff. That's not what I'm trying to hint here. I'm trying to hint to make sure that it is being pulled in the context it should be, that it's not being pulled in a way where it's being misled. You know what is what I'm trying to say coming across? Because I don't know if it is. Claire feels the same way. Why now? You're bothered he didn't look into things before. That really, really bothered me whenever he got on that thing on the Augie's channel, and he looked like a moron in that. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. It is my opinion. He came off like a moron, like he didn't know what he was saying. Puppy, yeah, I know the dogs are playing. I can hear them. If it bothers you guys, just let me know. Froggy, I agree. Why will he not say docs? Why won't he say that term? Is it because he's afraid of demonetization? That irritates me. Like, I get he's a creator, or at least I from my understanding, he's a creator who is making money on this platform and that's his way of living, which is fine if you do that. I don't have anything against creators doing that. But if you're going to talk about serious issues like this, you need to be able to just ball up and say what it is, rather than being worried that you're going to be demonetized or have limited ads on your video. To me, that just preaches that you're money hungry and that you care more about the money than the actual message. That is my personal opinion across the entire platform. I feel that way about every creator who wants to make up words for stuff just to maintain monetization. Don't cover topics like that all the time. Hey, Paisley. Don't cover topics that are going to be sensitive all the time. Only cover them once a week, once a month, whatever your finances. Could you stop licking me? Whatever your finances can afford, do it then. Or like, be careful about how you're going to talk about it, but don't sit here and refuse to say a word in its actual context, because when he did that even in this most recent video, he put it on the screen so people could read it. But he continues to say, well, I'm not going to use this word. I'm going to use this word. But then you read the definition and you say, this is a little bit, you say that this is doxing, because you provide the definition. This is providing public people's information. I'm against that. Releasing personal, and then he changes it. I don't understand why he won't say it. I know Katie supports paid often for his channel. I observed that on the only 2 streams I ever was a viewer in, I watched Katie support him and Katie's husband send him super chats or whatever. Whatever. I mean, yeah, it looks shady. It even more fuels for people to speculate his position. I appreciate that, Valerie. You would be livid and looking for revenge if that happened to you. Right, Beauty Demon? So, I agree with the doxing issue. Then you have to have them on 2 times speed and only in small doses. I mean, I can understand that. This man talks in circles, and I had that Jake's Baby Cakes. If you guys, and this isn't just to call you out, if you guys have specific questions to what Katie is doing, we'll talk about that after we get through this uni stuff. He's unwatchable. So, okay. What it is here, guys, is my honest opinions about all of this in Unirock's involvement is, I think for the past year, he has, for whatever reason, nobody's going to know unless Katie or, Unirock come out and say that they had this plan, that he stopped providing her criticism and started more being defensive of her, because that's really what it is. So prior to December of last year, there are videos, or I don't know if they're still up anymore. I didn't go back this far to watch, but I have seen clips where Unirock was providing Katie legitimate criticisms, of which a lot of us still provide her today. And then he continues to refer to this conversation that they had in December, and they came to this, he talked to Katie, let Katie say her side, and Katie somehow convinced him in that conversation that everybody was against her. And whatever information she said or provided gave him enough doubt to where he thinks that whatever she was saying was legit. So he literally flip-flops. Even in him trying to explain this phone call to people, there's obviously a total flip of a switch in his opinions with Katie. Because if it was a scenario where, hey, Whiskey. Hopefully you guys can't hear them. But there was a scenario where I lost my train of thought. I don't understand how just one conversation you would totally change your opinion is what I'm really trying to get at. What did she say, or what agreement did you guys come to? Because if it was a situation where you were just going to look into stuff, but you were still going to provide her criticism, then I would think you would follow through and still provide her criticism. But I have not ever seen any videos where you have been providing her criticism. I have only seen videos of you defending her and, you know, kind of trying to damn anybody who has talked about her. Anybody who's given her any kind of criticism, you have done nothing but try and tear them down. I've seen you do this to one of my really good friends here on this platform and another friend of mine as well, where you didn't even allow their criticism to get out, but you consistently and continually say that you give Katie criticism. Where is it? Where is the legitimate criticism that you have provided her? Because I've never seen it. Instead, I have seen you tear down and belittle and demean other creators who are smaller than you, which, if I remember correctly, this is one of your issues with Tati suing her, is that Katie has a smaller platform than her. Well, you went after Eyeshadow Island and Radiant Brit when they had far less subscribers than you did. But there's not an issue there, and there's not an apology being given there. So what I want to follow up with, if the video that you're holding to now, that you no longer support Katie, that you can see through her bullshit now because she made you look like a puppet, because in my opinion, you look like a freaking puppet to her. If that's the case, I would, you know, encourage you and say it would almost be necessary for you to rebuild yourself and be somewhat of a decent person, maybe, to apologize to all of these other creators that you have done nothing but talk shit to and make look like bad people because you wouldn't allow them to speak. Instead, you wanted to make fun of them and you wanted to drag them over their criticism when you and Kyle didn't even let them provide criticism. And then you did this yourself a week or two ago with Radiant Brit again. Like, really? You owe Radiant Brit an apology. Despite my bias with being her friend, you owe her an apology because the criticisms that you have are very valid in her videos. So either you really didn't watch it, or you were just that far up Katie's ass that you didn't care what the other creator was saying, but you wanted to tear down a smaller creator because it didn't support your narrative. And at the same breath, like, if this is all about defending Katie, have you never supported a smaller creator who maybe defended Katie? I know there's few and far between, but they do exist. So why did you not support them? If you wanted to push the narrative that Katie is, everything everybody is saying is bullshit, why did you not pull a smaller creator on? Do the good thing, right? Be a nice creator on this platform and support another creator who maybe had a smaller channel and say, hey, I saw this video, you know, they're in support of Katie. This is their opinions, rather than continue to call out the people who had criticism. And I really feel like the only reason Unirock did this was because he continually and consistently was getting criticized for blowing smoke up Katie's butt. Because that's what he did. That's what he does. That's what he is still doing, in my opinion. Just because he makes this video saying, yes, she doxed, but he doesn't even say that, creepshow art. She did. And you even show in that video where she has done the same thing to multiple other creators. And it kind of makes you look like a crappy person because you can now that you are in hot water as well, you can go and look at all these things, and now you can come to the conclusion that she has maybe participated in doxing people for longer term than just now. But I'm pretty sure people have been trying to tell you that this has been going on since December. So were you just choosing to not listen to other people's criticism? Were you doing the exact behavior that Katie is doing? Like, that's really what this is showing. Like, you were co-signing her behavior, and you were also supporting her. You look almost as bad as her, in my opinion, because you were sitting here and you were saying, I provide her criticism, even though nobody ever saw you provide her criticism, which is the same thing that Katie does. It's being a hypocrite. You maybe have not allowed anybody to be doxxed on your, well, you know, that's kind of an oxymoron, really. But you say that you don't agree with people being doxxed, that you don't dox people, which I don't know if you have or haven't. I haven't looked into your YouTube career that much. It's not that interesting in my opinion, but you had another creator dox on your Discord. You want to judge Katie for being reactionary. Well, all of these 4 or 5 videos I have watched are kind of reactionary videos on your part. Should you have come out and said that this happened? Yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't have done that. I think you probably CYA'd in that instance, and I understand you doing that. But why did you do it on both channels and Periscope? Like, I feel like that's overkill and almost a money grab at that point. You know, I think until you got in the hot seat of Katie saying that you're mean to her and you're the reason that she is losing subscribers, it is now why you are starting to see why all these other people are giving her criticism, and has been, because she has been doing these things long term to everyone else. This isn't a new thing. How many times has Little Red Y'all gone on her channel and said that Katie has sent her an email, that Katie has DM'd her, or has done something absurd to harm Little Red because Little Red was providing her criticism? How many times has she had to get on her channel and do stuff like that? Let her audience know, hey, this is what's going on. Because we did this, this is what's going on. I couldn't even count. And I will fully admit, I am not in all of her streams. I can't make them all. And lately, I have been way too busy to attend any of them, except for to come in and say hi and show support. I mean, it's just, like, how blind are you? Were you choosing, like, these are legitimate questions. Were you choosing to not see all of this stuff happen? Or were you seeing it and just turning a blind eye to it because you wanted to continue having a good relationship with Katie? And up until you posted that part 2 that went live today, you were still worried about what Katie thought of you and if Katie was going to be mad at you. Because in that part 1 series, all you did was continue to say, I hope you don't get mad at me, Katie. I'm just criticizing you, Katie, which in reality, you did not provide very much criticism in that video. You were just providing behaviors and facts. So I don't know why she would get mad because you're being honest. And then you want to say that you're confused about how she came into your Discord. And at first you were initially, it appeared to me anyways, that you were trying to maybe give her the benefit of the doubt and that she wasn't doing it maliciously. Everybody else knew that that was malicious. Everyone else knew it was malicious what she was doing because she has done this before, which you prove in this video. Hey, Britt. So why are you acting like you are so shocked that she doxed Creepshow Art? And now you're saying that you think it, in the part 2 video, he states that he thinks Katie did that out of revenge. It was definitely in spite of Creepshow Art not backing down to Katie trying to threaten her. But Creepshow Art obviously is a very strong and independent creator who isn't afraid of Katie, because nobody honestly should be afraid of Katie. If we get a cease and desist because we're providing legitimate criticism, then fine. We'll deal with it as creators when that happens. A cease and desist is not an email from a creator saying, I'm getting my YouTube manager involved. Like, Creepshow Art's definitely going to know that. She has a larger platform than you. She has been dealing with probably weirdos and stuff like this for a while. And as you wanted to try and prove, other creators didn't like what Creepshow Art said about them. Creepshow Art primarily calls out people for shit behavior. So of course there's going to be creators saying they don't agree with what she said because she's called them out on their shit. Just like she's calling you out on your shit. Like, it's not I wouldn't think she really had to have gone that far to find people who maybe didn't agree with what Creepshow Art was putting out. Because she calls people out for being crappy people. There's nothing wrong with that. If anything, I think there should be more creators that are doing that to prevent other people from harm. Katie could have dirt on Uni. You think so, Britt? I don't know if I don't think that there would be enough dirt to blow that much smoke up her behind, though. What kind of dirt would she potentially have that would, I don't know. I have, and I know you do too, Britt, and I'm sure almost everybody in this chat does. I have higher morals than that. If somebody gets dirt on me, which there really isn't any because I air out my own shit for you guys, but if somebody were to ever try and blackmail me, I would say fine. Go ahead, air it out. I'll address it with my fans. If they want to leave me, fine. Like, I know that that's harsh and people don't like it when I say comments like that. I don't ever want to lose any of my community, but if I do something shitty and the repercussion is I lose subscribers because I was a shitty person or I said or did something shitty, that is my consequence as an adult. If you break the law and you are sent to jail, that is your consequence for your shit behavior. I mean, it is what it is. Same thing. I mean, that's just life. Deal with it. Move on. If you lose people, you lose people. You shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't be putting all your eggs into YouTube anyways. I don't think that's a good idea. Unless you're to a point where you are raking in millions and you have set up enough money in a savings account that if you lost your YouTube career, you would be set for life. I don't think you should be relying just on YouTube income. That is my personal opinion. And I honestly think that's why Katie's behaving the way she does. And I think that's why a lot of creators who end up relying on YouTube income decide to react the way that they end up reacting to certain things. Because they're worried about their money, which everybody should be. Like, we have to survive, right? You don't think she has dirt on him either. She has influence because of her subs supporting Jason. Is that why Uni continues to, continues to apologize to Katie whenever he has provided her criticism? You know, in this last video he did, I was actually surprised he didn't say, now don't get mad at me, Katie. I think he has maybe learned that, or figured out at this point that, like, I don't think there's going to be a camaraderie between them anymore. And he wanted to continue in this video and in part one, he wanted to continue to make comments along the lines of, Katie told me to provide her criticism. Are you not an adult? Are these not your channels? And I had this criticism before. Like, are these not your channels? Are you not a grown man? Does Katie have a hold of your balls? Because she seems to be making a lot of the decisions for your channel and your content. I will be freaking damned if anybody tells me what kind of content to put out. It's not happening. If somebody wants me to, like with Britt is in here, her and I talk offline. And I have told her I wanted to make videos in defense of her. But she said she wanted to be the bigger person and not address it, which kudos to her. Kudos to her, quite literally. Like, shows her maturity level is better than mine, because I was the petty bitch who was like, I want to just call this dude out. I want to call him out for what it is. And I haven't. I've talked about it in live streams. I haven't just made a video about him, except for the first time because it needed to be done because no one was really addressing it. But like, she didn't tell me to do it or not to do it. You know what I'm saying? So why is he so influenced by another person's channel? It does make me think that what Joey's saying is right. It's because maybe her subscribers are the ones who are, kind of supporting him and giving him all the donations. I don't know, because I don't watch Uni. I really don't. Up until these 5 videos and the 2 previous live streams, I knew of him, but I never watched his content. And I've said why before. I don't know how he's going to come back from this, and his reputation is damaged from what he did on Augie's stream with Creepshow. I don't know how he was viewed in the community before. I really don't, so I'm not going to speculate. But I can tell you from watching how he handled himself in that stream with Augie and Creepshow, like questioning him, he lost a ton of credibility. And people aren't going to want to mess with him because he wants to sit here and defend a creator and then admit he doesn't know half the shit she does. It's laughable. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's laughable. You want people to take you seriously and to value your opinion, but you're sitting here and admitting to thousands of people that you talk shit out your ass. That's really what you did. Saying that you defend her consistently, but you didn't know some of the shit things that she's done that a lot of people have issue with, you lost credibility. And the fact that you started to backtrack the second larger creators got involved is questionable. Joey says he's watched his content and his supporters have become more and more of Katie's supporters, which I mean is fine, but I wonder how he's feeling now. Like the video part 2, her supporters are probably not going to be happy about it, but also people who can think critically. And I'm not saying everybody's going to come to the same conclusion that I have, but I've taken a step back. I'm somebody who is not biased about Unirock. I am biased on Katie, but I'm not on Unirock, and I'm not a kind of person to hold, your acquaintances' standards against you. I don't do that. So I've gone into his content open-minded, and really I have pages of notes here that I typed when I was listening to his other videos, and he's very biased. He wants to try and say that he's not biased and say that he can provide her criticism and that he has, but he hasn't. He has not at all. I mean, there's so many, even in these notes, like it made no sense. He talks in a circle. He'll mention something and then he'll just talk it out and never come to a conclusion or an opinion or a criticism. Beauty Demon says, I don't know. I feel like you are who you surround yourself with. You feel like to a certain degree you can hold people to what the people around them do. I mean, there's the age-old saying, birds of a feather flock together. And there is some truth to that. But, I mean, I have friends who have been in, even family, to be honest, who have, aren't in good situations, and I still try to offer them friendship and be there for them and support them, and I hope people don't put their choices onto me, so I don't want to do the same to others. Of course, if the person continues, which if we're going to talk about Uni, I haven't watched enough of his content to be able to really do that, and I understand for those of you who have watched his content or have tried to engage with his content over the last year and you have continued to see that you have that, you're able to have that mentality because you've watched enough of his content. I haven't, so I don't feel comfortable saying, oh, just because he supports Katie, he's crappy. But in all of these 5 videos I watched in the 2 previous live streams I had viewed, he doesn't follow through with what he says, and it seems to me that he gets upset, and I don't want to say he gets mad, but I can definitely see an emotional change when he's like, don't get mad at me for this. Maybe you shouldn't be a creator if you care too much what people are saying. If you care we as creators, we care what our community thinks of us because they're our community. They're who come and see us and support us. But if you do something that your community doesn't like, that's a conversation that you should have with your community and see what you can do to maybe ask for forgiveness or you're just going to have to come to the fact that some of your community is going to leave over decisions that you've made. I mean, that's part of being a creator. He does talk and talk, and he really doesn't say anything. It's very rare that I can actually be able to distinguish what point he is trying to get, because he talks in a circle. That's super frustrating to me. I don't know if he's like that in real life, or if that's just how he is online because he's afraid to make an actual decision. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I really don't. But to me, people who talk in circles on the internet when you're a creator, it's because you're afraid of backlash or you're afraid of judgment. In my opinion, you shouldn't be a creator with a platform, which 20,000 subs or however 18,000 subs is a platform, in my opinion. You shouldn't be afraid of backlash because you're not going to be able to make everybody happy. Instead, you end up putting out this content that people can't fully understand where you stand with whatever the issue is because you talk in a circle. You think he tries to be a good friend to KJ for whatever reason, and KJ is bossy. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think he's tried to do the right thing, but there's still the question as to why. Like, what happened for him to decide that he wanted to what did she say that convinced him? Because no one else, well, I don't want to say no one else, but a lot of other people haven't been convinced by what Katie's been putting out. What did she say to Unirock specifically in that private conversation that convinced him enough to start defending her? He does present a double standard, absolutely clear. And I think that's kind of what I was explaining whenever I was talking about his treatment of Britt in Eyeshadow Island. Because he wants to sit there that he criticizes and stuff, but whenever he pulled up the videos to allow people to actually be critical of Katie and her content, he picked two women who have smaller platforms than him, and him and Kyle did not allow them to even speak out a full criticism. And any criticism that were legitimate that they had to rebuke or belittle. They tried to say that Britt had curated her comment section. No, they said that on both of them, that they had curated their comment sections. I wasn't even really close friends with Britt at this time, and I knew she wasn't curating her comments because I had done videos critical of Katie, and my comment sections looked the exact same way. It's like he was incapable of realizing that this many people dislike Katie, or he was trying to push the narrative to the people watching him that there's no way this is true, that they have to be curating this stuff. No, they don't. They don't curate. People who talk critically of Katie, I think very rarely are curating our comment sections. I don't delete any comment unless it's just super disgusting, whether that be to myself or another commenter. I don't care if you agree with me, and you can argue me, and I typically engage in your conversation. What's funny to me is somebody will provide I'll give them the commentary of legitimate criticism on a point of Katie, and I will comment back and give my reasons why I support what I had stated in the video and ask them for clarifying information why they feel they do in their comment. Very, very rarely I think it's only been one person who has legitimately engaged in a conversation with me. And I'm not saying they have to, but if you're going to leave a comment disagreeing with me, which I encourage, I want to hear your side of the argument. I'm not engaging with you to make you feel like crap unless it's very obvious you are being just a backhanded jerk in your comment. Then I'm going to be sassy back in my comment to you. I do stuff like that, I'm not going to lie, but you can see it in my comment sections. And then, he just further continued that. And 2 weeks ago when he pulled up, I was in a live and Britt was here and she came in and said that he was talking crap about her again over one of her recent videos about Katie getting karma when it was starting to be known about the lawsuit. Britt made a very good video, which I suggest you guys go watch if you haven't watched Radiant Britt's videos about the trolling situation. She made a great video on that, and about Katie getting the lawsuit and how it was karma. And he wanted to sit there and say it's not karma and like just rebuke everything she said without anything. And he hardly let her talk yet again. And he kept saying, I wish Kyle was here. Probably because in the last video when he critiqued Britt in Eyeshadow Island, Kyle was a freaking asshole and wanted to downplay their appearance, which both women are beautiful. And who the fuck do you think you are to judge a female by her appearance? Women have such a harsh standard of society on what is the norm. I'm fat, guys. I don't know if you know that. I'm overweight. And I haven't shown my midsection because I don't want to deal with people calling me fat all the time. Could I care? No, I know I'm overweight. But the fact that that's something that I have to think about, and then this man is calling these two beautiful women ugly names and making fun of their appearance and how they speak is disgusting. It is deplorable. The fact that you left that on your channel shows the kind of human you are, especially the fact that now you're trying to say you don't support Katie, but you're going to leave these videos up criticizing these other two women in terrible ways. And then wanting Kyle to do that again 2 weeks ago when you wanted to criticize Britt. You were partially unable to provide any legitimate criticism because what happened before when you did that, you had Kyle sitting there being a jerk about their appearances and how they spoke and what they were doing. Don't watch the content though. And I find it ironic that you think he has good content. I've said it before. His little side character is weird. And that is my opinion, and I will hold to that. It is weird. And what I find a little bit frustrating about that is whenever Creepshow Art, I just don't like that character, okay? And I have that right. I think it's weird. I think it pushes a weird message. I don't understand it. Maybe there's a backstory. I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. But since I'm talking about it, I'm going to fully talk about it. Then whenever Creepshow Art on Augie RFC's stream said that one of the criticisms is Katie called Nick Snyder a meth head. One, you said you didn't know that happened, which if you didn't, where the fuck are you? Like really, where are you? Everybody knew that that happened. But whatever, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Your response to that was, I didn't know she said that, and I have friends who are battling addiction. Okay. So you have friends who battle addiction, but you think it's funny and it's cool to have a character on your channel who is a piece of bread addicted to crack. I really don't understand. I'm not trying to be mean. I seriously cannot understand that kind of logic. So you have friends who battle addiction, but you think it's funny to have a character on your channel that is a piece of bread who smokes crack and is always high. It makes no sense to me. I'm not trying to make you guys justify it if you think it's funny. If you think it's funny, cool. But in my opinion, it's weird. And it makes no sense, especially if he states he has friends who are battling it. Do you just expect them not to support you? Because if they are supporting you, you are potentially risking their sobriety every time that character's on your channel. I hope those are things that you think about. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be mean, and I know that's how he wants to choose his content, which is fine, but if I'm going to provide him criticism, that is my criticism of that character. Besides my opinion that it's weird, is you're telling your audience, and you told thousands of people who watched that video, which there were a lot of people in that chat and have since replayed that video, I'm sure, where you say you have friends who battle addiction. Do you not think that maybe that character, if people come across your channel who are battling or who are freshly maybe into sobriety, how hard it is and things like that can be triggering and cause a relapse? Does he think of things like that? what's interesting is I see that some people are calling him a puppet, which is fine. I've made that comment earlier, but that leads me to wonder, like, what is he going to do now? And I don't mean that mean. I mean that genuinely. What is he going to do now? I only became aware of Unirock because of all of this stuff. So now that he doesn't have Katie that he's blowing smoke up her butt, maybe he will go back and start defending her again. But if he stays true to who he is, what is he going to do? Because if all of his supporters now are Katie supporters, they are likely to leave if they are still Katie supporters. If they have started to question Katie's morals a little bit and maybe aren't supporting her, they may stay supported to him. But what is he going to do, like, for content? I feel a lot of why he has the growth that he has and the awareness in the community he has is because of his correlation with Katie. So he's kind of severing that. He hasn't fully, but he kind of is. So what is going to be next? Is he going to find somebody else to maybe try and pair up with? So I'm going to try and see where you guys are at. Maybe grow a pair. Yeah, I mean, I think I've said that more than in this live stream than I think I have in my whole life. That's why you think he's careful in his attack on her. I definitely can see that. That's something I wonder. I wonder, like, no offense to Shannon. Like, I think she did a great job in the interview with Unirock on Augie's stream. I wonder if Uni would ever be open to, like, one of us smaller creators who have been giving her criticism for a while, who have openly been giving her criticism, who have been following all of her poor behaviors, if he would ever be willing to talk to one of them, like Little Red or myself or some of these other creators who are starting to come out that have been following her for a year or longer. Would he be willing to have a legitimate, like, conversation, not even a debate, a conversation, like, this is what was going on during this point. You said this, or you supported Katie in this. Why? Tell us why. Maybe try to redeem yourself. I think that could be redemption if he could legitimately answer the questions honestly and just say, I was afraid of losing my subs. Like, if that's what it is, if it was the fact that he was afraid of losing his subscriber base because he had gained them from Katie, I think him being honest with somebody who's kind of can actually ask these questions to him and, like, not let him wiggle out of it. Not that Shannon did. Uni tried to wiggle out of it on his own, and I think it's because he was ill prepared for what was going to happen. I think he thought it was going to be very surface level and they weren't going to really try and throw the book at him with Katie, but they did, and I think he was shocked. So I wonder if he was aware and, like, could actually, like, gather his thoughts and everything. Would he be willing to have that conversation with somebody? I think, honestly, for us who have been around for a while, that is his only shot at, like, regaining any kind of credibility, in my opinion. He won't talk to Little Red. Why not? I know that Little Red's told me he's blocked her, permabanned the name or something like that. And I don't know how Discord works, so I could be using those terms incorrectly. Something about permabanned and blocking of Little Red, and I don't know why. He needs content. A number of his ex-mods have said many times he would turn. I feel like a lot of people have been calling that he would turn when it got too hot, and it's getting too hot. But I think it's almost too late for larger creators. Like, that stream he did where Creepshow was questioning him, he lost a ton of credibility. I don't know how he didn't. He was going to talk to True Ball of Wax, still might, but Nadia's mod told him she is good friends with Little Red, and he said he wouldn't talk to her. Hey, Madison. Who is saying Little Red doxed Katie? When did Little Red dox Katie? KJ won't even talk to anyone. He is still a coward. Uni needs to apologize to women. Brit and Eyeshadow Island. Yeah, no, I agree. I said that earlier, Nurse Kimberly. He owes them an apology. He especially owes Brit an apology, and I know it seems slightly biased coming from me, but he went after her twice. She definitely deserves an apology. Uni is saying this. Where? Where did he say that? And what is he saying Little Red doxed Katie for? I mean, if that's his stance, if it's because he believes Little Red doxed Katie or anyone for that matter, like, be able to support where you think and provide, because you expected us to do the same for Katie. You gave Katie a fucking year where she was doing nothing but doxing, and I'm trying not to get mad and not let this turn to a Katie stream. But you allowed Katie to do these behaviors, and I think you knew about them, to be quite honest. Like, I know I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt in a lot of things, but I think you knew this stuff was going on. I think you knew she called Nick Snyder a meth head. I think you knew of the situation with the Sophie Long. I think you knew of these things going on, and you were trying to play ignorant. And you're trying to continue to play ignorant. To save your own ass, which Katie should maybe have thought about who she was aligning with, because I'm sure she knows that you were aware of these things. I'm sure that's why she tried to come out and say that you were lying, because she knew you were aware of some of this stuff, and you're trying to save your own ass now. So you're trying to feed into that, well, I didn't talk about it and I didn't know what was going on, so that when this moment came, because I'm sure you were aware it was going to come based off of her behaviors, that once this moment actually came, you could do what you're doing now and try and pull out and be like, I had no involvement. I didn't know. He doesn't go into details. Well, that's kind of a problem to me, because people were going into details about how Katie had doxed other people a while ago, and he allowed her to be a moderator in his Discord. Oops. You guys just started talking fast. Red doxed her by posting her company LLC information. Red said she should not have done it. Red said she is sorry a few times. I must have missed all of that happening. I mean, Red admits, if Red's admitting that it happened, then it happened. She apologized for it, and that's up to, the viewers and everybody else if you want to accept that apology or not. If Red has admitted, in my opinion, and this is not me trying to defend Uni in any sense, but if Red did something, she acknowledges she did something, and she apologizes for doing that action, and that is why Uni says he doesn't want to talk to her, that is within his rights. We can't say that it's not. He has the ability, we all do, to not agree with other people's behavior and decide not to associate with them. Do I think it's fair? No, because he's done this with Katie. I mean, that's hypocrisy at its best. So that's not right. I was unaware that situation happened. I commend anybody who does something wrong if they are going to acknowledge it, apologize. Like I said earlier, if you do something and you apologize for it, it is up to your viewers and your subscribers whether or not they are going to accept it or not. And that's something that as creators, we just have to accept and learn how to handle. If you lose a ton of subscribers over something that you do because it's crappy behavior, that's a consequence. Obviously, I don't think Red lost any subscribers from that. Her channel continues to grow. Yeah, I don't trust any of them either. Oops. chat's starting to move fast. Sorry, guys. I don't know. She didn't do it on purpose. She didn't know it was doxing because Katie put it on Google. Again, I'm not trying to say I wasn't there for that. If Red admitted to it, then I'm going to say it happened, but I didn't see it. I didn't know that was a thing. It was before she had a channel. She did it on Twitter. Uncovering Hypocrisy says, apparently I just doxed a whole entire family. My bad, whoopsie. Did I miss something? I think I missed something. I think I maybe missed a part of the conversation. The chat went really quick there for a second. You guess you dox yourself when... I mean, he pulls up the definition of doxing. I think people don't fully understand what the definition of doxing is. Yeah, I've heard Red talk about how her channel was struck and she felt that it was because Katie wanted her personal info. I mean, based off of Katie's track record, that's a legitimate assumption to me. It is an assumption, though, unless Katie comes out and says this is what her intention was, which we know she's never going to do. And I'm not trying to discredit Little Red. I love Little Red. I support her. But as creators, we need to be careful, because in situations like this where people are going to be hyper analyzing things that we say, you just have to be careful on what you have said previously and be aware of what you have said previously. Thank you, Madison. Oh, it's a joke between you guys. I was gonna say, I got confused somewhere. Every time Uni can't find a solution, he brings up dox harassment in the RO. I mean, I just don't get, if something's already been handled, why as humans we try to hold it over others. Yeah, Doublemint, you're right. Doxing has to do with intent. I don't think people understand that. If it's done on accident, we're all human. We all make mistakes. And like I was saying in regards to this Little Red stuff, which I didn't know happened, but she apologized. Move on. If people were going to unsubscribe or not follow her, whatever platform it happened, if she was to suffer a consequence from that, she suffered it then. Move on. She's apologized. Like, move on. That's like holding somebody's criminal history from teenage years, Katie, against them as an adult and trying to say that that's who they are today when they have had decades to change who they are. Any person who has a criminal record that can be judged based off of their charges are going to say, please don't hold it against me, especially when they have rehabilitated themselves. That's a crappy thing to do as a human. You shouldn't do it online. Okay, so I guess Little Red's Twitter went down and it's back up now? Is that what I'm reading? That's a good point. Doublemint says Uni uses trigger words to sensationalize his content. You know, he does in some degrees, though, and in others he doesn't. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Chloe. You're awesome. That's so sweet of you. His first video was a word salad. Yeah, I mean, I feel like almost all of his videos dealing with Katie are a word salad. He doesn't ever make his point known. He does nothing but talk in circles. To me, that's what talking in circles is. Whenever you're just literally talking like this. You're not coming to a conclusion. You're not coming to a solution. You're not coming to a point. You're just saying stuff to say stuff. And oftentimes, if you listen to him, like what he's actually saying and like trying to understand what he's trying to say, he contradicts himself. And again, I don't know if that's because he is afraid to let people know where he stands, or if he literally just doesn't know if he cannot make up his mind on his own. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I can understand something like that. Depends on, I would imagine it has to do with her settings. I didn't know her Twitter has gone down. I have been trying to watch these videos and catch up with the Sophie updates from last week or the beginning of this week, because my subscribers have asked me to do updates on that. So I've been trying to catch up with all of that stuff for today and this weekend to talk about with you guys. So I have not really been on Twitter or Instagram or anything. I try to go on just to check my DMs to see if anybody needs anything, but I haven't scrolled through, so I did not realize she wasn't on Twitter. Look at who he attacks. Yeah. I mean, the only ones that I know, and you know, Joey, I'm not trying to pinpoint anything. I just don't follow the Steve stuff. So I'm sure he has talked about people in that way. I've only seen him do the ones against people who've provided criticism on Katie, because that's the only thing that I'm interested in as far as his content has gone. I don't even know what his actual content is. Yeah, Jane, I've seen people talk about that too, that it has to do with her relationship to Steve. I feel like I would have to actually deep dive into that to really understand everything about that. And from my understanding, that's coming somewhat to a close. So I don't really see why I need to go back. There's so many other creators, I think, that has covered that stuff. Oh, thank you so much, Madison. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who's a part of the community and willing to talk. Give their opinions whether you agree with me or not. Yeah, Chloe says 1 minute he's calling her out, the next it seems like he was defending her. And it's, I don't know if it's because he doesn't know where he stands, or if he does and he's just afraid of losing his subscribers. It seems that there's been other people in the chat who have been watching his content, or at least his channels, for a while, and a lot of his subscribers have become Katie supporters, which is fine. That's within their right. But if that's all his channel is made up of are people who support Katie, then maybe he's afraid to say his actual thoughts about her. Which, to me, that's an issue. If you're a content creator and you're trying to make your content about your opinions, you're not being truthful with your subscribers if you're not being genuine about your thoughts and your opinions, if that's the kind of content you're producing. That's not surprising. I feel like, I don't mean this to like give him any credit. I feel like he's just a really sensitive person. That's kind of how it comes off to me. The fact that when he has defended Katie and he made that part 1, it was very much, don't be mad at me, don't be mad at me. Even in live streams, he would say, don't be mad at me, don't be mad at me. It seems that he maybe can't handle people disagreeing or handle conflict. There's a lot of people who avoid conflict at all costs. There's not anything necessarily wrong with that. But as humans and as adults, you're going to face conflict at some point in time. Maybe he's just not comfortable dealing with it. Again, that's going to fall under, if you can't navigate those things, then you really need to think about your space as a creator, especially if you're providing commentary. If you are providing content, like I have a second channel that's a craft channel, I don't think I'm going to get any hate on that channel. But if it happens, it's going to be about me doing something wrong, or somebody thinking I'm taking their idea or something like that, because that's the only thing you can really say about the craft world. You can't really say, well, you know, you're not providing your true self because you are physically seeing what is being created, right? I hope that makes sense. Should you check his channel out? If you want. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to tell anybody to not check out anybody else's content. If you want to check it out, you can. If you like it, stay. If you don't, leave. I mean, that's up to you. He seeks conflict. I don't know. And I'm not saying you're wrong, Joey. You very well could be right. I never really looked into his content aside from what stuff he's done with this Katie stuff and all these videos recently. It's the most I've ever watched of him, and it will probably be the last time unless this continues to evolve, which I'm sure to some degree he probably will. His videos are weird to you. It seems that I find it weird, and you guys are viewers too. So you guys let me know your opinions. Do you guys, and I don't mean this to sound like a rude question. I don't mean this in a nasty way. Do you guys like it when creators have two channels but provide the same stuff on both channels? Like there's no differentiation between the content? Press a 1 if you don't mind creators doing that. If you could put a 1 in as your response if you don't like it if you don't mind. Let me word this right before you push numbers so I make sure I'm getting. Do you guys like it when people have two channels that provide the same content? If you like that, press 1. If you don't like that, press 2. And if you really could care less, press 3. You don't get it? So if you say you have a creator like Unirock who has two channels. He has his Unirock channel and his Rock-A-Lot channel. They seem to have the same content to me. If you like that he has two channels with the same content, put 1. If you don't like that he has two channels with the same content, put 2. If you don't care and it's whatever to you, push 3. Okay. Yeah, 3 is I don't give a shit. Yeah, 2 or 3. I think to me, I fall more into the realm of 2 and I lean into 3. To me, and this is my personal opinion, is I think it's a money grab, which is fine. People can, if that's what you want to do with your content, that's what you want to do with your content. To me, it makes no sense though. Like, why have two channels covering the same shit when you're gonna get the same, yeah, you may be getting double the views for people who care about what you say, but if the content is literally the same, I'm noticing this on Unirock is I noticed the day that he talked about this doxing that night, he went on every single platform he had, which I can understand that maybe because that's a big deal, he wanted all of his platforms to know. But if you didn't have 2 YouTube channels, you wouldn't have had to film 2 different videos or post it to do 2 different places. To me, that's a money grab. If you're gonna have 2 channels, in my opinion, I would prefer them to have different content. If it has different content, then that makes sense. Like when Katie started her, Katie vlog channel or whatever it ended up being, because she changed the name a few times. When she started that, she was getting frustrated that people were only wanting to go to her secondary channel, which she was trying to have as a vlog channel. Kind of, not really. I mean, there was some riffraff about that, but she started this channel and she called it her vlogs, and it ended up not being vlogs. And half of the time she would talk about her content from a WACB, and then other times she would want to talk about her personal issues or whatever she was dealing with or however she was feeling. And people would ask questions or relate it back to her WACB page, and she would get mad. And she would be like, this channel isn't about that. But she had made that channel about that content. And then she would get mad that people would bring it up depending on what she wanted to talk about. Part of that is just Katie's issue in general. Like, if you want your content on a certain page to be a certain thing and people in the chat are trying to address something different, ignore those comments or say, hey, I don't want to cover that stuff right now or on this channel, and move on. Don't sit there and rant or belittle or attack a subscriber, or yet worse, a member who is paying your fucking bills, that they did something wrong. Isn't the whole point of memberships to be another part of revenue for you to further support yourself as a creator? Isn't it in your best interest, if you are going to be enabling that feature, to continue people to want to pay every month because it's a monthly subscription? I don't understand the individuals who were paying that and Katie treated like garbage and then continue to allow that monthly payment to come out of their bank. I can only assume some people had stopped that. You are hurting your own business at that point if you are being nasty to the people who are supporting you. They don't need the same. Yeah, I don't understand having the same content. And I'm not going to sit here and try and act like I don't have a second channel, because I do, but it has nothing to do with this. And it's not just my channel. It is my sister-in-law's as well. And it's a crafting channel. You don't even see my face. I don't understand why it's become a thing nowadays. It seems to be more and more. I understand, like, so Angelica Oles has 2 channels. To me, her channels are very different. Although she talks in both of them, you see her in both of her channels. One is very clearly a channel for beauty related things, and the other is her commentary. I understand having 2 channels in that sentiment when you clearly divide the content on both channels. That is at the curation of the curator, the creator, to make sure that there is a divide between your channels so they don't bleed into one another. To me, if you can't be creative enough to have a distinction between your 2 channels, you shouldn't have 2 channels, in my opinion. I understand why people do it. It is a money grab, in my opinion, because they want to be able to say the same thing twice, and they want to get double the revenue, and they want to charge memberships for both pages. That's crazy to me. And I get people want to support the creators they like. I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad if you support somebody who does that. But it just doesn't make sense to pay for, like, how is that? And that brings up the question to me, how is that creator being able to provide some of those top tiered perks on 2 channels? Because I have looked at multiple channels' perks, and the top tier is usually $25 from what I have seen across the board. And most of them that I have seen, not all of them, most of them say you get early access to videos, you get exclusive videos, things like this. How are they giving exclusive videos to 2 different channels? But people are paying, like, are you actually getting your money's worth is my question. If you're paying $25 and you are expected to get certain perks and you're not getting them, maybe lower the amount of money you are offering them. That sounds bad, but you would not go to a restaurant and pay for a 5-course meal and only get 3 courses and be okay with paying the full bill. It shouldn't be thought of any differently. Just because you have a liking to that creator or something, in my opinion, you shouldn't do that. And I hope subscribers are really thinking about that. I have not enacted, and I don't think Britt has either, the memberships, and I would feel bad, especially during the pandemic. I would feel bad to allow people to not have access to everything especially when the pandemic is going on. I would feel bad about that. And this is definitely, as I've stated before, it's a hobby for me. So if I make money from it, great. It's just going to go back into my channel. If I don't, great. It's not going to change the way I do my content or what I provide you guys. Madison canceled. I know we've gotten off topic, but I feel like this is kind of just where the conversation went. Sorry. Carrie thinks she's stuck in a personal hell where all she can talk about is the Duggars or the Plaths. She's put herself there. I mean, she has. She has decided to only make that her content. She, at one point, was trying to go outside of that realm, and the videos weren't performing. But I'm pretty sure whenever she started covering the Duggars and stuff like that, her videos didn't perform wonderfully right from the start. Nobody's does. Lauren says she subscribed to someone on YouTube and on her Patreon, and it starts out as exclusive content and it inevitably spills over into her YouTube channel. It's annoying. Yeah, I can understand. Like, if you're paying for something, because one of the only things I think that creators can really charge a larger sum of money and feel like it's not scamming to some extent is to provide exclusive content. Like, if you're willing to pay $25 to me a month for exclusive content, I can see that. But you need to make sure you're holding through that it's exclusive for those people who are paying that money. I know it comes to a point where maybe inside jokes are happening and things like that, and other people who aren't paying that money feel left out. But that's how you need to run. If you're going to use YouTube as a business, and you need to approach it as a business, and that's what you would have to do. I don't even think I could start memberships, and I've talked about it before. The only time I think I would is if it came to a point where my channel was just too large for me to maintain. Keeping a good grounding with my community, because I know I have supporters here that have been here from the beginning who I don't want to lose that closeness with or that connection with. And if it came to a point where my channel got larger and I couldn't have that, then maybe I would have a conversation with you guys to see if that's something you'd be willing to do, or that you would be interested in doing, to get back to those like smaller communities where we can just do smaller live streams or things like that. We'll just see. That's the only time I've ever talked about maybe enacting that. And those are my personal views. Of course, I support people who have memberships. I have subscribed to multiple channels who offer the memberships early on because I believe in their content and who they are. I'm not trying for that to come off in any way of me judging others who have enacted their memberships. You think, Jason, dang it, you keep making me say it. You think he may change his content to be a distraction? I'm sure he will, because he's going to get heat for this, and he knows it. He kind of foreshadows it in his video today. Katie's now opening her Discord to her members for exclusive. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What kind of exclusive information is she going to provide? And I'm sorry, these creators, I have to say this. This is not going to be nice, probably, so don't take offense to this. But these creators who are going on every which other platform to entice money from their subscribers, my personal opinion is you're a crappy person. Get a fucking job. If you can't support yourself off of the views that you're getting and stuff like that, then maybe work a side job. Don't rely on the YouTube income. You shouldn't be expecting, especially when you're a smaller channel. To me, you should not be pushing your financial strides onto your subscribers. Until you're in a place where you are living off of that without enticing people to send you money, I don't think you should push that onto your subs. You have put yourself in the position, you should deal with it. If you have bills to pay, which we all do, we all pay rent, right? For the most part, You should be working some kind of job, in my opinion, to maintain paying those bills. And if you end up getting income from YouTube for whatever reason, allow that to be extra money. And if you continue to grow your platform and it comes to a point where you are making double or triple that and you are able to support yourself and not be asking your subscribers to pay your fucking rent, then maybe start doing those things. But I hate that YouTube has become such a place for people to just push super chatting me, push joining my Discord, push joining my Patreon, my other channel, just for the monetary gain. I'm so over it. And the fact that these creators like Katie apparently are starting to open these Discords and these Patreons for exclusive information. You are dumb if you think people who still disagree with you aren't going to be paying for that to get the tea. Like, do they really think that people who don't like them aren't going to pay that, whatever the fee is, just to know what kind of shit you're saying? Because people do that. People dislike, especially Katie, people dislike Katie enough and want to prove Katie's a liar enough that they will pay whatever she's going to charge for people to get in there and see what the exclusive information is. I mean, it's just moronic. The pushing is a turnoff. Yeah, and I don't think anybody... I don't mind people having merch. I don't mind people, advocating. There's a difference between advocating for yourself and shoving these things down your subscribers' throats. Like, that is my opinion. Her tea is laced with gasoline and nobody wants to drink it anymore. I mean, if that's not true, I don't know what is. But, and I hope nobody takes what I'm saying in a bad way. These are my opinions about like how I have seen creators handling their content and handling their relationship with their subscribers. They want to say that they love you guys, that they are only here for you, that you are their best friends, that you are their family. And if they are constantly asking you to send them money, either be through super chats or memberships or joining a different platform which has a paywall, please just be aware that to some degree those creators are not being honest. I don't mean that to come off wrong, but I want people to understand that don't be taken advantage of. I'm not saying these YouTubers are scamming you. Unless they're not following through with their memberships, you're not being scammed. But if they are constantly saying these things and almost enticing and pulling at your heartstrings or giving you like something bad happened to them and now they can't pay for something, or a new bill has come up and they're worried about paying for it, or just constantly airing out their personal financial issues, that is them manipulating their audience into feeling bad and sending those super chats and joining that membership that maybe you can hardly afford. They don't care. That sounds harsh, but they don't. They don't care if you send them the money. I see so many people saying that if you join a membership, you get shouted out. And I don't see those shout outs happen. That's a problem. In my opinion, that is a problem. You shouldn't be paying for something if it's not going to be followed through. Terry says, we have a sad story. We're in a pandemic. Absolutely. Which to me, some of these creators who have pushed even more people supporting them is really disappointing. I know everybody is hurting. I'm sure YouTubers maybe are hurting. However, you haven't lost your job. You still have if you're a YouTuber, you still have the ability to make content, to get AdSense. You shouldn't be going on to your platform and saying, woe is me, I work from home. You guys pay memberships to me, but I had this new bill come up and I understand it's a rough time right now, but could you please super chat me some money? Could you please send some money through my PayPal? I don't like that. That is my personal opinion. I really don't like that. There is a fine line between like how I think it is done appropriately, where it literally is, if you pay this monies, I'm going to give you X, Y, and Z. Then you are paying for a service. You are paying to get something. That's why for merch, it's different. You're paying for the merchandise. You're paying to get something. That's like running a shop. I have no problems with that. Even with memberships, if you're doing it appropriately and you're following through, then I understand that. But if you're doing memberships and you're not following through with what you say you're going to do, I immediately have a problem with that. And then you're going to push other ways that people can pay. It's like saying just subscribing to me is not enough. Now you need to subscribe to my membership and pay me monthly. Now you need to super chat me so I can even address you. And you're lucky if I'm going to be nice to you. Also, here's this other platform that if you pay to, you might get exclusive content. You might not. I mean, and this isn't just a Katie thing. This is an across the board thing. This is going on way too much. I've been wanting to talk about it, but it's not ever really come up in a cohesive way for me to air out my opinions. These are my opinions about it, to be honest. Is Katie primarily like a huge target in this? Yeah, she is. We all know she does this stuff. But there's other creators who are doing the exact same thing. Just be wary. And if you're paying for something and you're not getting what you're paying for, I'm not telling you to stop supporting them, but stop paying that amount of money if you're not getting what you're supposed to. Terry says she even calls herself a reporter. She has. I mean, she's used that at her convenience. If it's convenient for her to say she's an investigative reporter because people are questioning the links that she goes to, then she says, I'm an investigative reporter. But if she gets in hot water because she's provided an opinion that is not liked, well, I'm just a commentary channel. Or she gets herself involved in drama stuff where any other time she's going to yell at you for calling her a drama channel, but the second it suits her narrative, but I'm a drama channel. What are you talking about? And does she really not think that people can't see through all of this? It feels like a scam. I mean, at times I can understand where it maybe feels scammy. I don't think the creators are intending it to be scammy, or at least I hope not. I think people are enacting those things and maybe have the heart to follow through, but they fall short or they get overworked and they just don't end up following through. And rather than addressing it and saying, hey guys, like, I'm sorry, I'm not coming through with these things, they just let it go. And they just hope that people don't notice and continue to pay the monthly fee. That could probably, to some degree, fall into that category. But I can definitely see people feeling as though it could be a scam. All right, Graham Z, thank you for being here for the amount of time you were. I appreciate it. KJ's a walking contradiction. Yes, she is. I've seen a lot going on with that. Zag Creations Twitter said that journalists look into people's private information all the time. She's not a journalist. Yeah, I think I saw a screenshot of somebody who posted that a couple of days ago. And I mean, journalists don't try to, they may get people's information, but as far as I remember and recall, they don't air it out. They maybe use part of it to support a point, but they don't like dox the people. It's just, It's weird. Valerie says some older people who are lonely fall into the money trap when they are donating and not even have money for their needs. That's why you have an issue. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are people who are maybe living off of assistance, whether, I mean, the older generation can fall under that SSI. But YouTubers need to be wary. And if I think there was a situation where Katie knew somebody was donating who was of that kind of situation and she continued to allow it to happen, I may be reaching here. This may be just me mixing things together at this point. But I could have sworn there was criticism going around about her having a subscriber who was on disability and was openly saying they were on disability and providing her consistent super chats and stuff like that. As a creator, like, I would do my best to try and get that money back. If I knew that someone was on SSI and was probably unable to afford the super chats, I would send that back. Bailey says real journalists have laws that protect them because they're real journalists. Yeah, you're right. Oops. Oh, the site that she had linked was Kiwi Farms. I've heard about that website. I've never gone to it. I'm not a creator who goes looking for information. I'm sure most of you guys have been able to figure that. I don't provide receipts or anything like that. I just let you guys know of the current situation and then provide my opinions. Or if it's a situation like this where people already know what's going on, I primarily just provide opinions. I don't go looking for information. I'm not an investigator. I'm literally just a commentary channel. I just provide my opinions, my commentary on whatever is going on. Begging money because your husband lost his job and can't afford to live, and then took the money to buy a camera, microphone, Botox, lips, on and on. That gets to me. Carrie, a lot of people have provided her so much criticism about that, myself included to a degree, because I knew she had done like some kind of fundraiser, but I didn't know what it was for. That's right when I started to really pay attention to her actions. And you know, since then, people have said she had started that or was asking for more money because her husband had lost his job. But there's contradicting information out there about that. But nonetheless, she was enticing people to send her more money, and people followed through because they support her and were worried about her for whatever reason she was putting out there. And then to come back and buy all of this expensive equipment. YouTube is expensive. I have purchased stuff for my YouTube channel since I created this channel and decided to. I have been purchasing things as I'm able to, and it's expensive. It is super expensive. And I don't know what kind of camera she uses. I don't know what kind of mic she uses, but it's the fact that she has all of that equipment. I'm sure it was expensive. I don't even have a mic except for one that came with my camera because it's so expensive, and I've already put so much money into my channel. I can't continue to put all of my money into my channel when the holidays are coming up. Right? I'm not a journalist. I would never claim to be a journalist. That's when you canceled your membership. Yeah, I think, there's been a lot of large situations with Katie where people have canceled subscriptions or unsubscribed is because of things like that. She did that. So people, even her loyal subscribers, could see through what she was trying to say was happening and what was actually happening. So people unsubscribed for that. Then the stuff that happened with the Sophie case, how she covered even the Stauffer case, like, long term. She didn't really do any follow-up until Josh, Sloan, Britt, even myself were starting to, Josh and Sloan have maintained, Josh from the Dad Challenge podcast have maintained keeping the Stoffers in the forefront. And I agree that they should continue to be in the forefront to some degree. Katie didn't do any follow-up until like a month or two ago, when everybody was like agreeing with Josh and Sloan that, hey, we should continue to air them out. We should continue to make sure new subscribers are aware of what they have done and things like that. That's only when she came back to this story. And that's questionable. Like, why did you get so invested and then you just pulled out and didn't follow up? If you're a legitimate journalist, do you not follow a story continuously, or am I wrong in that? Do you just cover what part you want to cover and then leave it? What are you doing? Hi. I don't know. Dad challenge is he? I've never been in any of his, I've been in maybe one or two of his live streams. So I've not really engaged in his live streams. I primarily watch his pre-recorded videos. Yeah, I know he did. You tend to follow it. I feel like that's what we primarily do, is if there's a story, you follow it all the way through as a journalist. Because as a journalist, especially an investigative journalist, like if we're going to tack that term onto it, are you not trying to get to the bottom of something? Like, don't you follow it until there's an answer, or until there are no more like hard-hitting questions? Besides all of the equipment, she's also buying expensive makeup. Like, I can barely afford internet and my phone. Yeah, I know she's been purchasing expensive makeup, as I've noticed that. Jazzy, I hope your surgery goes well. I'm happy that they are cheering you up. He's sleepy. I think he's cold. It's cold here, but my husband and I sleep with the AC on in the house, or the heat down low to where it's cold in here. And him being short-haired, I think he gets cold, so he likes to lay on top of us. And oh yeah, her ring. Her clothes are allegedly given to her. So I know that which is a criticism that I don't think a lot of people have really called her out on. I think they've let it kind of go. It was mentioned here or there, and a few people who've given her criticism, is the fact that she started talking about 3130 like a month or two ago, and she was like, oh, and I'm not going to be, I specifically remember her making a comment of she's not sponsored or anything, and then she showed the clothes, and then she put in that it was an advertisement, and then she said later that she was going to be sponsored by them. So I'm just like, why did you say a few months ago you weren't going to be sponsored by them, and then now you are? Like, as creators, you don't need to say you're not going to be sponsored by somebody because you're not actively sponsored by them. But if you know that there's a potential for you to be sponsored by them, it makes you look like a liar. And I'm not saying she intended for that to happen, but it made her look like a liar, and like she doesn't have morals, which in my opinion, she doesn't have them anyways. But for you to say to your audience, I'm not going to be sponsored, and then a few months later, you're sponsored. I mean, why say you're not going to be? If you are willing to accept sponsorships, you shouldn't tell your subscribers you're not going to accept a sponsorship or that it's not going to happen if you know it is going to happen, right? That's just my opinion on how that goes. I don't know if he would be getting unemployment. If he's unemployed, he can apply for it. Yeah, I understand a lot of people agree that Katie's not truthful. I mean, there's evidence to show she's not truthful. What are you looking at, Paisley? What's going on? What's going on? I can see her just like alert back there. Nobody's home. I don't know why she's... Hi. Hi. She said she also gets a small commission or percentage if you buy clothes. Yeah, I mean, so she's affiliated too. Thank you, Black Swan. The one guy is almost getting $24,000 a month from sponsorships. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have, I don't have anything against sponsorships. But I see the rest of your comment that he asks for PayPal donations. Why? Like, if you are making a decent amount of money off of YouTube, whether that's from your advert, like the AdSense, whether that's from, your subscribers giving you super chats, whatever it is, why are you pushing for people to continue to donate so you can have more money? Like, that just makes you look greedy. Hey, Veronica. Oh, yeah, the dogs. I don't know if you guys have seen the last video. That's Paisley. She's 5.5. This is Whiskey. He's 2. You heard her say in a video on Reddit, she writes her clothes off. How can you do that? Like, how can she legitimately say that's a tax write-off for her job? Like, you have to have clothes to walk out of your house. So how would that validate, unless she was a fashion channel and she was purchasing expensive clothes to support their channel and getting their income from views? How can you say that that's a tax write-off for her? How? I don't understand. Like, could she say that maybe her equipment was a tax write-off? Maybe. I don't know how that stuff works. I really don't. Can I have the blanket, please? You can write your clothing off if you can't wear it outside of work. I've tried so I had to purchase clothes. I was a dog bather at one point in time, and I had to purchase specific clothing for that job, and I was able to write that off. But, like, why would she need to write her clothes? She doesn't wear anything spectacular for her YouTube channel. I don't mean that to be mean, but you had or you have 3 huskies, Joey? Yeah, your husband is a CPA, almost anything can be written off. I'm sure, I mean, he would know of all people. I've never really looked into that kind of stuff. I've never had to, doing YouTube and my going into a business with my sister. I'm sure this next tax season, if we get any income from these things, that I'll have to learn. I'm sorry to hear that, Joey. Leave her alone. She doesn't want you to bother her. I recently had to put down my older husky a few weeks ago. Yeah, I remember when Onision tried to write off his house and then he got audited. I don't know. I don't remember what the outcome of that was, or if there was even an outcome that has happened or if that's still in the process of happening, but I remember him doing videos and complaining that he had gotten audited and his reasons for it. He is somebody who I followed all that, I don't want to say all, but I followed a lot of the crap that happened with him, and he's one of the reasons why when people ask me if Katie's going to be deplatformed, I say I don't think YouTube is going to deplatform her. I think it will happen. If it happens, it's going to happen through the lawsuit. And I know Britt put out a video about this recently, and her and I actually had a conversation offline about it, about where we thought things would happen. But I don't think that YouTube is going to step in with this Katie situation. I think she might end up getting in some kind of trouble because she was dumb enough to include her manager and all of that. But I don't think that they're going to terminate her without the courts getting involved. You can write off your scrubs, but it's for work, but it's required uniform per tax. Yeah, I mean, I understand things like that being written off, but I don't understand how Katie can justify needing to purchase clothes for her YouTube channel to be able to write it off. I'm sure there is a loophole. Thank you guys for all of the condolences about my my puppy. He wasn't a puppy, just for anybody who's watching this. He was 8.5 and got cancer, and I didn't know until it was too late. She will lose her ads way before she becomes deplatformed. I mean, maybe they will enact like demonetizing her channel, but look at how much it took for these other creators. Like, Katie is a crappy person. Like, I've acknowledged that time and time again. She, and what she has done, some things could be borderline, you know, considered somewhat crappy behavior and maybe criminal. But what some of these other creators like Onision was doing, there's legitimate like evidence that he was being inappropriate, and it took them forever to be able to actually acknowledge his antics. She can say it's needed. That's still shitty. I mean, I guess I can see where she's getting away with that, but that's just crappy behavior. Yeah, I know H3 Beauty Demon. I kind of talked about that in one of my older videos. I don't remember which one it was, when all of that stuff was happening, and I mean, I just don't understand. Like, it is what it is. And Katie just trying to be petty. And she was really, to me, she was just trying to make sure that she was publicly, openly supporting them when everybody else was calling it childish, because let's be real, it was childish. I understand the argument that Elia, if that's how you pronounce her name, I might be saying it wrong, and Ethan were saying. I understand their sentiment in that, but at the same time, like, it was childish. It really kind of was. So for Katie to, you know, wear that and like publicly support them, I think she was just trying to get acknowledged by them and continue to have support by them, because everybody else was really saying it was dumb, because it was. In my opinion, that whole situation was dumb. She hasn't been supporting it lately. I realize she only does things like when it's controversial, and I think she does it when it's controversial because it keeps her name being put out there. Like, what did she buy illegally? Oh, I'm sorry, Valerie. See, I don't follow Keemstar that closely either. I know about all this stuff with Onision, I keep saying all this stuff, and I'm sure I didn't know of every ongoing, but I know a lot about what happened with the Onision stuff over the last few years. Keemstar, I knew who he was. He's always, I mean, he's a larger platform. He's always kind of been getting himself into controversy. Really, Paisley? He's always been getting himself into controversial things. So I knew of him. I've never really watched his content, to be quite honest. And I said that once this started happening, like I was happy a larger creator was calling Katie out on her BS. But I don't, a lot of people have said, you know, Keem's really not one to talk. And I don't know if he is, because I've not followed him enough to know his antics. And I know that that's something that Unirock kept like hinting at in his part one. Was it part one? He kept like trying to call out Keemstar and say Keemstar's no better, and like kind of poking jabs at him, which, I mean, whatever, if it's true, like that's within his grounds. But why are you kind of portraying attitudes like Katie has and like poking the bear? Why are you trying to get noticed? Are you not caring if it's going to be good or bad publicity at this point? Because that's kind of what it came off to me when he kept like trying to call out Keemstar. The hoodie, yeah, I saw that. I've heard people say that that hoodie is expensive. The $75 t-shirt were a slap in the face. You listen to his podcast because you like his co-hosts. I didn't know he had a podcast. Yeah, Beauty Demon. I've been watching his recent content because I've been trying, he said he was going to make a video, so I'm trying to see if he's just going to slip his opinion in a video. So I've watched his last few uploads, and in one of them, he was talking about Call of Duty coming back and like ownership of Optic. And he, you know, acknowledged the fact that he started his YouTube career talking about gaming and Call of Duty specifically. Def Noodles called her out. I mean, yeah, he's not controversial at all. He's a comedian, and his have been funny when he has, but that goes to show, like, not, she hasn't called out Def Noodles for his take on her or him addressing her, because she knows he's not controversial. The only people she is trying to call out and say are defaming her or anything like that are people who others have said that there's some questionable stuff in their commentary. Which goes to show like a pattern for Katie. Like, she is just trying to find people who are even slightly against a creator that has criticized her to be like, oh yeah, to join her and just supporting her because they don't like that creator. She says that this is what her troll army do. She enacts the same behavior. She puts it out there, oh, this is happening, this creator is defaming me. Like when she did it with she did it with Nick Snyder from The Viewer's Voice and Dustin Daly, full well knowing that there's people who don't like them because they can be mean, they can be catty, it's part of their personality, and I think it's endearing, to be honest. But she went after them, saying that they were costing her views and stuff like that, and that they were just being mean to her. Which, yeah, they called her names, but she also calls people names. So she was really trying to target people who didn't like Nick Snyder and The Viewer's Voice to start supporting her. And then, you know, she's continued to do this. And I don't know if people are realizing that she is doing these things. This is a part of, she's not dumb. She knows what she's doing. I know a lot of people have questioned here and there, like maybe it's a mental health issue and things like that. And I'm always very, I allow people to say their opinion and I try to acknowledge them, and I always say I'm not going to self-diagnose, and I'm not going to. I can't diagnose anyways. I'm not a master's. I only have my bachelor's in social work, so I couldn't diagnose anything even if I wanted to. But the thing is, like, we really need to take a step back and realize all of her behaviors and stuff. I really don't think it's mental health at this point. There was a time when I was concerned it could be, but personally, I don't believe it is. There's a number of reasons why I personally don't believe it is a concern for her mental health. A lot of that is because she is prescribed, which she has openly told us what she takes for her ADHD. That is a controlled substance. Therefore, she has to see a doctor to get that prescription. Paisley, maybe not every month, but depending on where you live, you have to go in and talk to whoever's prescribing that medication to ensure you're not abusing it, because it's a controlled substance. So she is regularly seeing somebody who is prescribing that to some degree. Therefore, if there were other existing issues, they're addressed. Just because she maybe isn't allowing us to know that, that's within her rights. So I'm not going to say she is. The behavior she displays online, I think, is speaking more to her being manipulative and vindictive. She knows what she is doing. She knows what she is enticing. And that is why she strategically always ends up coming out with another video saying something bad happened to her. It is, to me, it is a strategy. If you really take a step back, she is strategically doing these things. Therefore, in my opinion, I don't think it's a mental health issue at this point. If she ever comes out and says that it is, then I will retract that and I will apologize for putting my opinion on somebody else's mental health out. But aside from that, at this point, I don't think it is. I think she is calculating all of this. That is starting to become my opinion. And I know people are going to have opposing opinions to that, and that's fine. Like, I really don't mind obviously, if you guys don't agree with me. I don't expect everybody to agree with me. But if you are one who has been concerned that that is an issue, which again, I had that concern, and I really took a step back, took my feelings out of it, took my personal feelings of disliking her because of all the crappy things I know she has done. And I went and I looked at all of her content and the rotation of when I know even some videos are deleted or privated. I've looked at it to be able to know, since I've been watching her, when some of these controversial topics have gone up. There is a legitimate freaking pattern, guys. She will talk about a controversial issue, have an opinion that is not widely liked. She will get heat. She will apologize for her opinion. And then there's something, oh, whoa, it's me. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's what she does. She comes out with some kind of video or live stream where my life is tough right now. This is what I'm experiencing. And I'm not saying she's not experiencing those things, but it's quite calculated, in my opinion, on how these things always roll out. She has to be planning it to some degree. There's no way that every time you get into hot shit, suddenly something bad is happening in your life. Or you want to bring up something bad that has happened previously. If it was something you wanted to advocate for from the beginning, why did you not advocate for it in the beginning? Why was it only something you advocated for when it was convenient to what was being said? She wanted to say and I'm not judging her story, but when she disclosed her situation, she wanted to say she wanted to be an advocate and provide a voice for others. She has never once since tried to advocate for that. Never once since. Does anybody, I'm sure some of you guys pick up on that, but I hope more people are realizing that. She says these things to garner sympathy, to garner not only sympathy, but for people to second guess. This is catching her subscribers who maybe are on the fence. Her subscribers who are really maybe trying to question her behaviors. And then she says something like that. I'm trying to advocate. Like, really think about it. She got into hot water. This is the easiest one because this is the most controversial one. I'm going to acknowledge that. But she has her opinion about the Sophie Long case, and she gets hate for it. And then when the hate gets to be too much, she releases her own story, and she says that she wants to be an advocate and this, that, and the other, and that she wanted to be a voice for people on all of her platforms, not just YouTube. She did that across all of her social media, and never once since have I seen her try to continue to advocate for that. What happened, in my opinion, and this is what she does over and over, this is just the easiest one for people to maybe understand, is when she got into hot water and her legitimate subscribers were starting to ask her, like, you know, why did you say this? Why are you, like, really kind of asking her rather than just damning her. They were asking her why she had the stance that she did. She comes out with that and says, but I'm just trying to advocate. That is going to bump those people who are legitimately, like, maybe questioning her morals. Her coming out with that video is going to bump those people back into her corner and kind of stop them from the critical thinking process and stop them from being able to view it from a wider lens. This is an ongoing pattern. That's the easiest one because that's the one people give her the most criticism about. But if you take this and reflect it onto any other situation, the Leslie Bass situation, anything like that, it is the same thing. It's always, she does something, says something people don't like, people call her out for it. She might lose subs over it. And then she comes out with a video saying sorry or trying to say, that's not my intention. This was my intention. This is where I came from. And it's always something to garner sympathy or to get a sympathetic reaction from the viewer to stop continuing their thought process. You believe, Delaney says, sorry, I'm trying to engage with you guys a little bit now. Emily said she lacks self-awareness. I agree. I have made that comment on multiple times. Delaney says she believes they both have a plan to bring attention to their channel by having this so-called issue with her. Yes, she doxed Creep Show, but he knew it wasn't the first time. He did know it wasn't the first time. And in his part 2, he very conveniently doesn't mention that he knew of these other issues when they were occurring. He pinpoints these other times where it's assumed and in some cases has been kind of proven that Katie did these things. He doesn't acknowledge the fact that he knew that they were happening. He kind of talks around that, so it's not something people can question his motives for. She is advocating for the wrong reason. No, don't get into that. Maybe this stems from her not believed story. Just a thought. Is it disease? What are you doing? Yeah, Carrie, I didn't really know of all the Leslie stuff until recently. I became more aware of what was going on. I knew there was an issue there, but I didn't know the full issue because every time it was slightly brought up, out of respect, other creators who knew about it wasn't providing the details to that. So I wasn't aware of really what had fully happened until Leslie had recently went on a live stream and like played some voicemails and stuff like that. And that's just disgusting. I know they don't want it talked about, so I don't want to feed into that by any means, but that in itself should have been telling. Could you stop pushing stuff? I think she has a lot of enablers in her life. Like, obviously her husband has to be one because he's allowing all of this to happen. I mean, we can only assume that of what is going on, like with her attorney and stuff like that. I would assume her attorney is telling her not to talk. It seems that maybe since she's gotten better, in my opinion, since this other attorney, aside from the emailing these other creators, aside from that whole debacle, it seems she has kind of pulled off from airing everything out on social media as far as like YouTube. But here comes a good question. Is she not talking about it because she knew that Uni was kind of going to pull this play where he wasn't going to totally support her? Is that... Stop, Whiskey. Quit. Lay down. Get up here. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. He keeps pushing the laptop. Isn't today the day her response is due to the lawsuit? I don't know. Is it? I know there's a time frame on it, and I talked about it before, but I wasn't sure what the time frame was. There's no way her attorney approved these emails. I mean, what kind of gall does she have? Like, she sees everybody talking about her. She sees everybody giving her criticism. I understand she lacks so much self-awareness that she can't legitimately see where our criticisms are, or even acknowledge that these criticisms are legitimate. She lacks the awareness to be able to make those associations. I see that. However, with that being said, like, she has attorneys involved. Like, why would you see everybody telling you, just stop talking, just stop talking? Everybody's just giving you the advice. We're not even trying to criticize you at that point. We're trying to literally help you to a degree. Like, stop freaking talking about it. You're digging yourself a hole deeper. Why do you think that we're just saying this to say it? Like, it's legitimate advice. Stop talking. I'm sure her attorneys are telling her to stop talking about it. But I see she hasn't really been openly talking about it on YouTube since Unirock kind of aired her out for the doxing of Creepshow. I wonder if there's a correlation in that. But the emails are just, it shows she lacks self-awareness even more, because she wants to say her YouTube manager told her to handle it. That might be true. That might not. I mean, Katie's kind of been a proven liar at this point. So maybe she had a conversation with him. Maybe she didn't, but she's drugged him into it. She CC'd him on it. She admitted that she was participating in shitty behavior in this email. And like, I couldn't tell if she was wording these emails trying to say like her YouTube manager told her to put out this email and this is the things he advised her to say, because the language within the emails it was all her language. You think she might be? I don't know if she's posted any content today. I allowed myself to sleep in and then get ready for this live stream, so I have not checked any social medias before getting on here this morning. I have no idea. Yeah, Anne says if she keeps on this path that she can tell us her attorneys will walk away. She will have a hard time finding representation. I mean, she's making it hard for them to fight her case at this point, because she continues to engage in the same behavior of the original lawsuit. But Katie lacks the awareness to identify that she did defame the Westbrooks and Halo. She still does, and it's like, in one hand, I think she's like this mastermind who is calculating all of this. And on the other hand, she just is so dumb, she won't identify these things. Oh, you guys like the dogs playing? I know I told you guys, they're not always just laying down. Whiskey, quit. You're gonna knock everything down. Stop it. You think she's toast when the jury hears? I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But I think Emily D. Baker said, if you're interested in like the legal aspect of it, definitely follow her channel, because she's an attorney and she is able to dissect and inform us of what is legitimately being claimed in these lawsuits and in these documents for us. And I think she said that it's not likely that this is resolved quickly if both sides try to fight their side. Am I wrong in that? Go. You think she misconstrued what that means? Uncovering, I wonder if she did misconstrue it, or if she knew what it meant and went ahead and did it the way that she did to try and plead ignorance. Like, that's my thing. Like, are these people calculating everything that much? Or are they just like, we all know Katie lacks impulse control, and that's why she reacts the way she does. Is she just like doing this out of reaction, or has she sat there and thought about it for a minute, and then these are the choices she's decided to do to try and be able to set herself up moving forward? Sorry, I'm getting really cold. Emily was a district attorney, and so that would be criminal. I don't know what she's currently practicing law in, but she says she still is practicing to some degree. And I think she acknowledges that does she say anything about her experience in civil law? She has done a lot of different work within the field of being an attorney. Because she recently told us of another position she had where she worked closely with judges in like reviewing everything. So I don't know. It's a good question to ask her. You like the name without any impulse control? I watched, was it put on Nick's channel or Dustin's channel? I can't remember. I watched one of their videos, I think it was yesterday, one of their collabs, where they said that they were thinking about making a video of all the names that they have come up with, parodying her name. I'm interested to see if they film it and upload it. I'm sure it will have a lot of us laughing. The dogs are entertaining. She was a deputy district attorney for LA, and she was a research attorney before that with judges. Okay. I'm glad the dogs are entertaining you guys. Anytime, so you guys will most likely, I will try to make this more of a regular filming space, but it will probably be on Fridays when my husband's at work. Since obviously I'm in my living room, this is where he plays all of his video games. Otherwise he would be in the shot. He doesn't want to be on my channel. And he is pretty aggressive when he plays video games. So if people are offended by my language, they would be very offended by his. What a cute dog. Yeah, he's pretty cute. He's a pain in the butt. I think they need to go outside, and that's why they're acting the way that they are. So I'm probably gonna wrap this up here in just a minute. What do you guys think? Yeah, his foot is better. So he was limping, was it last week when I said that? We had company come in town, and one of the company was a girl, like my husband's niece. So she's young, and she was running around and throwing his ball a lot more than what he is used to. So I think he pulled something in his foot, and he was limping slightly, but now he is fine. He's not limping at all. Would I get demonetized? For what? Did I miss something, Jakes? Baby cakes? Your sister's husband's like that when, yeah, he gets pretty loud. I'm surprised sometimes you guys don't hear him when I am filming or doing other live streams. You don't hear him in the background. You have 2 Bichons and 3 cats. I have not seen Illuminasi's new video yet. I don't care if you put your music page in here, Veronica. I hope it will let you. It lets somebody else put a link in. You can try. You have a mini Australian Shepherd. That's blue merle. I love blue merle coloring. I think they are so pretty. My parents have, not a mini, he's just a standard Australian Shepherd who is also blue merle. And people think Huskies are high strung. That dog is high strung. Very, very high strung. A lot of that is because he comes from a rough upbringing as a puppy. So he's more high strung than other Australian Shepherds I've been around. But man, is he wild. You foresee years of litigation ahead, potentially. I mean, and I hope people are understanding that. Like, this is going to be ongoing. And I think Katie is going, my personal opinion is Katie is going to continue to feed into this and continue to cause ruckus as long as we engage in allowing her to be a topic at hand. Because I've said this before, I know other creators have said this, but the more that we actually give her the attention and like call her out and say her YouTube channel, people are, I mean, I would be interested if anybody in my chat would want to say that they are not entertained by drama. We're humans. It's entertaining. That's why we watch it. That's why we engage in it. That's why, you know, we think it's funny at times. Like, people think it's funny that Nick Snyder and Dustin Daly said without a pot to piss in. It's funny. It's a play on words. It's making fun of her to a degree, and it's funny. We all enjoy watching it and getting entertained by it. So people are going to continue to watch as long as we're willing to talk about it, which is going to continue to flood people to her channel, whether we like it or not. Some of those individuals are likely to subscribe because they want to watch the dumpster fire. I mean, it is what it is. That is the reality. Her channel is probably not going to suffer until all of us stop giving her what she wants and stop talking about her, till all of us, you know, let her continue to drown herself. That's why she's losing at a slow rate. I feel like she would have lost a lot more subscribers at this point. This is my personal take on it. I feel like she would have lost more subscribers than what she has if we weren't feeling her and if we weren't driving more people to her channel. I mean, it's true. I can acknowledge that, and that's why I have really been trying to not engage. It's hard. I will admit it's been hard to not want to get on here and continue to rant about her, especially when she sent out those emails. It's hard for me to not want you guys to know my updating opinion about it. But I don't want to continue that cycle. I don't, because a lot of us are hoping that there is some kind of consequence with her channel because she has been so irresponsible with it, that there is a repercussion. And I don't want to continue to feed into it by continuing to get on here and rant about it. And having, in one of my rants about her, I had like 500 people in my live chat. That never happens. The fact that I have, 120 some people watching me now, this does not happen on my other live chats. I don't ever get this many people. I appreciate this many people are listening to me and my opinion and what I have to say, but I never have this many people in my live chats. The only reason that they're here is because of this drama. And that's why I have made it clear that I don't intend to continue to update you guys every day. If something happens, I'm going to make a video about it, or I'm going to get on live stream and I'm going to talk to you guys about it. But it's not going to be a daily thing. It may not even be a weekly thing, but this could be drawn out for a long time. And we are kind of proving Katie that, you know, to what degree are we going to say it's not obsessive ourselves? If we're providing some kind of, providing our opinions only gets you so far, in my opinion. Because to continue to provide your opinion, you are watching. You are, and I'm not saying that you're watching from her channel so you're supporting her, but you are feeding into it by watching the situation, figuring out what's going on to be able to provide your opinion. Or you're not watching it and you're continuing to regurgitate the same information you have ongoing, which is boring content, and people aren't going to remain engaged. At some point, we all need to come together and decide, like, we need to not obsess, because we're criticizing Katie for being obsessive in how she covers her content. We need to not obsess about this and let it go. And if something happens that deserves commentary, then provide the commentary then. That is what I have done. I haven't talked about her since, it's almost been a week. I think Sunday was the last time I really talked about her. Could you quit? His feet are on my leg and he keeps pushing. But what I was saying is, like, we need to at some point kind of decide like where we're going to draw the line for ourselves. I have really been, especially with all these emails and like with Creepshow shutting down her Twitter and stuff like that, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to get on here and like just continue to rant, but I needed to draw a line. I don't want my content to be Katie. My content is not just Katie. And I don't want it to become just Katie because there's so much shit going on with her. I would rather talk about her when it's relevant. Covering this uni stuff is relevant to talk about her, but she's not in my title and she's not going to be. Now, will I probably tag her when I go to edit my description? Yeah, I probably will tag her name, but I'm not going to put her in my actual title because I don't want people to get the wrong impression. And I hope you guys are okay with that. And if people who subscribe because I was ranting about Katie specifically and they leave because I don't continue to feed into it, I understand that. That's the content that they want. And if I'm not going to provide it to you and you don't want to subscribe to me, that is okay. Because unlike some other creators, and I'm not meaning anybody in particular, I'm not here just to gain a huge following. If you look at all of my content, aside from just my Katie videos, it is very evident that that's not my goal here. So, with all of that being said, let the dogs out, then get back. The problem is if I let the dogs out, I have to watch them. If you know anything about Huskies, they are escape artists. Not that she can get out of our backyard. It's something I always worry about though, so I won't let them out unless I can keep an eye on them. Uncovering said, you think they're bot? She has little views compared to her subscriber count. Something smells fishy. And you ask, can you buy views too? I'm pretty sure you can buy any kind of engagement. I've never looked into it, but I've heard other creators say that you can buy subscribers, you can buy views, you can buy comments, and you can buy like actual engagement. So yeah, you can. I don't know what the cost is or what that is, but I know it's against terms of service, which I don't know why you would want fake people or fake numbers, because YouTube does go through this process at times where they purge a lot of bots. And if you're purchasing subscribers and things like that, those subscribers it's going to look like you have a loss in your channel if you're purchasing them. Whenever YouTube does their clean sweep and there's no engagement from those people on YouTube or on those accounts, it's going to get deleted, right? Isn't that what people have said? So I hope that answers your question, Jake's Baby Cakes. You're going to keep giggling at her comments. You had a husky growing up and always had to chase them down. Yeah, if Paisley gets out, or when we had Gizmo, it's a feat to try and catch them. Charlotte is going live in 15 minutes. You can pay to promote your videos to a larger audience usually, or you can buy bots. It fucks up their numbers. I mean, people have always questioned about her subscribers and the amounts that she gains. I'm one of those as well. There's other channels. So if you don't know, I'm sure all of you do. There's this website called Social Blade. You go to socialblade.com and you enter in whatever YouTuber's name you want to, and then it shows how many subscribers. It's all off of estimates, how many subscribers that you're getting and how many views you're getting and things like that. And I have noticed that it is not likely for subscriber counts to, they're an even number. It never says like 15. It's like 10, 20, 30, things like that. But when you see consistently only 1,000 or 100 on smaller channels, it is likely that they are purchasing, because you can look up a comparable channel and look at their subscriber counts, and they will be gaining people by 15, not 15, by like 50, 80. Sometimes it is 100, but to consistently be gaining an even number of like 100 or 1,000 subscribers is suspicious, because that's really not how people work. You're not on random days just getting 100 people subscribing to you or 1,000 people subscribing to you. And then what you can tell if they're purchasing views is if they get a spike in views that correlate, in my opinion, when I've looked at other creators, including Katie, who do this. In my opinion, if you look at their views, either the same day or a day or two after, their views also spike up. It's very shady behavior. You can kind of pinpoint it down. Abby says she can't watch KJ channel. That's why you watch my channel and others. Yeah, and I understand people who do that. Thank you, Doublemint. I know most of you guys aren't going to care if I talk about Katie or I don't. And I will, like, as things happen, I will talk about her. And I've said it before in other live streams where it was my smaller community who attends those streams. I told them there not to be fearful, because previously I'd said I'm not going to talk about her at all. And I said not to be like worried or fearful if you bring her up. If you ask a question because I haven't covered it or I haven't talked about it, I'm not going to get mad. I'm not Katie, and I will address your question. I just don't want to dedicate full streams to her. Am I okay with talking about her in the stream? Yeah, but I'm not going to continue to feed into it by putting her in my title. I'm also, because what ends up happening is a ton of people end up being in the chat, and I can't even see you guys commenting because I get overwhelmed with a large chat. Having moderators is not going to moderate that, in my opinion, because I don't care what people say. I really don't, unless you are coming in here and it's a legitimate troll, like coming in and saying something really outlandish to get, like, cause an issue. I don't see the reason for moderators, to be quite honest. I don't mean that in a bad way. I have enacted a few at times when I've thought that things were going to get out of hand, and that's because of an issue that happened to me several months ago. But since then, like, I'm not one who wants to have a ton of moderators or even any moderators, because my moderators don't delete anything. There's no rules. I say just don't delete anything unless it's something like that, which hasn't happened on this channel. I've had bots come in and say mean things to me, but I've chosen to put myself out here, so I don't care. I can hide those people. It's evident when those people come in, right? I understand some people have to have moderators, but putting Katie in your title is going to, because she is such a hot topic, is going to entice a ton of people to click on it. I'm not here for the views. I'm not here to try and gain a crap ton of subscribers overnight. I'm not here for that. If it happens and that's a result of people agreeing with me or liking how I talk about stuff, great. There are probably subscribers who are going to be interested in my other content and not be expecting me to just bash Katie. And those are the kind of subscribers that I would prefer to gain. What's going on? What's going on, Lean? Are we arguing about something in the chat that I've not noticed? Because I've been just rambling. What's going on? What's going on with you guys? Are we not arguing, just observations? Okay. Yeah, try not to argue with each other. If it's just you guys having a debate about something, that's fine. It seems like this is about another YouTuber. You guys can voice your opinion. You know I'm not going to censor you guys. Just be respectful. And it looks like you guys have been to each other. People can have differences of opinion. That's why you can vote with your subscribe, who you choose to subscribe to. Some people like how some people cover stuff, some don't. I mean, it is what it is. I understand everybody wanting to defend who they enjoy watching. As long as we're respectful, I don't mind. I just caught the back end of that and I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything mean happening, and it doesn't appear there was. So I appreciate you guys being respectful to each other for having a difference of an opinion. Seems like everything's good and we can move on. Sorry I brought attention to it. It seemed from the back end that there was arguing going on, and I see there wasn't. So I apologize for bringing any attention to that. Yeah, Katie hasn't had a regular chat, and I know, dang, I'm streaming from my phone. I actually screenshotted a community post she did when all of this stuff started to unfold, that before she said she wasn't going to do live streams anymore, she put a community post out that she was only going to do members only live streams moving forward. And as I've said before, it is a money grab. I've said before any of this happened, because she talks about controversial things and people want her to hear their criticism, so they will pay for that membership just to have their comment put out there. And then it's like a double-edged sword, because half the time she doesn't acknowledge it, or she does and she belittles you, or she just deletes it and she's an asshole to you. I mean, I get them wanting to get their opinion out there and get their point across. I do. Don't waste your money doing it though. Like, you know, she's not going to listen to you. You know, it's probably not going to go well. I would advise just to not feed into it. She does treat her subscribers terribly. Yeah, Jakes, I see that now. I just caught the back end, and it didn't seem fully like there was an argument, but I wanted to make sure there wasn't. We're all typically pretty respectful here, so I appreciate that, because I have been in chats where it's not respectful. I mean, there's some creators who don't even respect their subscribers or their members. So, but with everything being said, I've been on here for quite a while, so I am actually going to go. I am going to try and finish catching up on all of the updates with every other case going on, like the Sophie case. And I will probably put a poll up for you guys to see if that's something you guys want me to talk about. I know I've had some subscribers who have asked me to continue talking about it once updates came out, and updates have. So I just need to make sure I fully have my opinions developed and make sure that I can talk about it from a way where I'm not going to engage in some of the craziness that poor Josh had gotten himself involved in with the with Critical K. I really don't want to end up involved with her, provide any context to her in relation to the Sophie Long case. Your English is perfectly fine. I've not ever had an understanding, or as far as I can remember, I don't think I've ever misconstrued something you have put in the chat. But if you ever feel that way, definitely let me know. If you think that I or anybody in the chat misunderstood what you meant, just let me know and we can figure it out. I agree, Anne. I don't understand why she wanted to say that. And I mean, that's a continual thing. She says she's open to criticism, but she restricts who can actually comment. And she legitimately does curate her comment sections. I have seen it happen in front of my eyes on her apology video. So, yeah, I wouldn't have known either, Beauty Demon, that it wasn't their first language. I appreciate everybody for the thanks for me putting out my opinions and things like that. Keep an eye out on Twitter and my community post, because I'm probably going to put a poll up to see if you guys want me to really sit down and talk about the Sophie updates. If not, I'm cool to not do it in a live stream. I may just do it in a quick video. I am going to follow up because I know there are subscribers who care about what I have to say in regards to that. Otherwise, I probably will have some videos out. I'm doing my nails. If you guys are interested in my nails videos, I will have one of those out in the next couple of days. I've got to do that this weekend. So with all of that being said, I hope you have a good rest of your day. If I go live again, I will let you know. I'm thinking about maybe going live a little bit later today just to do a random like Q&A type video, but we will see where my day takes me. All right, guys, with that being said, I hope you have a good day, evening, night, wherever you are, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.